Welcome to the Retirement's Next Steps podcast. I'm your host, Jill Templeton-Haislip, Global Real Estate Advisor and Senior Real Estate Specialist with Russ Lyon Sotheby's International Realty DeGeorge Partners. This podcast is a valuable resource for retirees looking to connect with industry experts who can enhance your retirement experience. With so many companies, products, and services available, it can be overwhelming to know where to start. Let us help you navigate through it all and find the resources you truly need to make the most of your retirement years. As always, you can join us in person with each of our industry experts for the full presentation every month on the last Thursday at 4 p.m. Our office is located at 16872 East Avenue of the Fountains, Suite 103 in Fountain Hills, Arizona. Thanks for tuning in. Let's get started. Hi, Betty. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks. I'm really glad to be here.
Betty, go ahead and tell everybody who you are and what is your business.
Okay. I am Betty Pecha, and I own A&M Futures, and I work with women going through transition. So what does that mean? Women that are contemplating divorce, going through divorce, or widowed. And I help them with their financial planning because they're going through a really rough time. They get overwhelmed. And I want to make it as simple for them as possible.
Okay, that is a very specific targeted market. So why don't you back up just a little bit and give us some background of how did you get into being a financial advisor and more specifically targeting that down?
Okay, so I have like 4 decades, that makes me feel really old, of being in corporate compliance. So I did that for a lot of times. I worked for a New York Stock Exchange company, a NASDAQ company, and the largest privately held privately held corporation. Okay. And that was interesting. And then I had some things happen in my life, and I decided, you know what? I took a break for about 6 months, and I tried to get back into the field. Well, I was told I was overqualified. So I don't know if I was overqualified or old. So
only after 6 months.
Wow. Well, the corporate world in Arizona changed a lot during that period of time, and so the main headquarters for corporations moved to Ohio or Colorado. They didn't stay in Arizona for tax reasons.
I see. Okay, so that made you kind of shift.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and so then I found financial services, and I love helping people. And in 2009, we went through a family crisis. Our family crisis is what I call the skill saw altercation. Okay. And that was when my husband was cutting up pallets with a skill saw.
Okay.
And he hit a knot, and it cut his arm. So yes, we cut he cut every muscle, his nerve, his artery, and so we lived through.
Oh my!
Yes, we lived through 2 surgeries. One to save his life, the second to put a synthetic nerve in his arm. And at that time, I called my financial professional and said, "I need money."
Yeah.
And he never asked me why. And I was like.
A light bulb went off afterwards.
Yeah, a light bulb went off because of the way he handled that. Because we were under 50, we got hit with all types of, not only taxes but penalties for pulling the money out of my IRA.
So it kind of spiraled. Like, not only are you in this crisis, but now you're having all these additional fees and all these other things on top of it. Oh no. Okay. Right. So you took this as an opportunity.
I did. And then I fell in love with working with women that are going through or contemplating divorce because we also had a family, my daughter, who went through a really bad divorce. And I went to the attorney with her, and I walked in with all the paperwork, assets, liabilities, and
you're a very organized lady. I love that.
And the attorney didn't understand what the different financial vehicles were.
Okay.
And I remember actually arguing with her about it a little bit, and I'm like, oh my goodness. And I watched how my daughter shut down going through this process, and I was the one who said, okay, we also need to do these things to make sure that her children are going to be taken care of in the future. And the attorney said, well, they're just babies. Yeah, they are.
And we should start now.
Right? But they're going to grow up.
Yeah.
And after that, all of a sudden, all these other ladies started showing up at my doorstep, and it was very fulfilling for me to educate them because, sorry, a lot of men just say, this is how it is, and they want you to think it's complicated. And I'm like, no, it really isn't. So I do PowerPoints, I draw pictures so that you understand exactly what you have and what your next step should be.
The education portion is really important to you.
Yes,
and I love
much.
that.
Very much.
So if you were to take on a new client, it sounds like, now do you strictly work with women, or do you also do, okay.
every time I say my passion is women, 3 men show up at door. So
she works with everybody, but kind of
Right.
your sweet spot is helping those women. Okay.
Exactly.
So in any situation, you kind of gear it towards what makes the most sense for you. If somebody feels like they need to get in touch with you, if we were talking about divorce, some people don't know, they're blindsided, right? So maybe that's not the best situation. Let's talk retirement, because this is retirement's next steps. When should somebody start getting in touch with you? Hey, I'm getting ready to retire next year, or?
The sooner the better, because we need, retirement planning isn't a short game. It's a long game if you're a golfer. And I'm not really a golfer, but that's where I went. But you need to know how each one of these different types of vehicles work. You need to know what the tax implications are going to be for each one, because they're different. There's 3 different buckets, and they all have to play nicely together. And the way you also sorry and the way that comes out too is legacy. So if you have an IRA and you want that money to be transitioned to your children, well, when you pass, they're probably in their most high income period of their life.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Well, because of the Secure 2.0 Act, they now only have 10 years to pull all that money out.
Okay.
So that can really, really affect them, and they're going to pay taxes. The government's going to say either you're going to pay the taxes or your family's going to pay the
Someone's paying them.
but there are ways around that that you need to. There's a lot of ways, but people don't know.
Yeah.
So I always say, just talk to me, and let me know what your situation is. If we're starting from square one, fine, because nobody knows what happened to you prior in life.
Mm-hmm.
So there is no judgment. I mean, if you're just starting with $100, you're starting with $100. If you're starting with $1 million, you're starting with $1 million. But it's just, everybody's different.
But you need to start somewhere.
Yes.
And stop putting it off.
Yes. And most people are putting it off just because it's overwhelming to them. Mm-hmm. It's new. It's like, baking a 4-layer tier cake or whatever, and that's not something you're normal to you.
Right.
So just ask, and there are no stupid questions. That's the only way you're going to learn. And I know with my clients, I ask them a lot of questions because I want them to think about, what are your goals? Mm-hmm. Well, if this is your goal, we need to do this, this, and this to get you there.
Right. Okay. So you do work with folks in any stage of life.
Yes.
What would you say is your youngest client? Could be.
My youngest clients are in their 20s.
Okay.
And that's like the easiest place to start.
Do you hear that? Tell your grandchildren and your children.
Right. Start now.
Yes.
Because they get so much more bang for their buck, and then you have everything. All of a sudden, not the word just left. Compounding. That's
yes.
the word. So you have everything compounding for a nice period of time, not just 5 years or 10 years. So that can be a really nice goose egg. I just worked with somebody yesterday, and we're putting together a financial plan for their grandson. And he's not a year yet. So.
Oh, that's good though. That's great.
Absolutely.
The earlier you can start, the better off you are. Like you said, start even if it's $100. It's a starting point. You don't want to get into a situation where, oh my gosh, I want to have these retirement goals, but I'm 2-3 years away from retirement.
Right.
But you still have options
Right.
for them of things that they can do. Now, I think that also a big concern that folks going into retirement or maybe already in retirement are thinking of, how do I preserve all of that savings? Yes, I'm in this golden age now, but what do I do?
Well, and that's kind of like the retirement part, that's the hard part. The accumulation part is kind of easy. You kind of do what you're told to do, and you do it, and you get there. And then the retirement, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm pulling this money out of my nest egg, but what am I going to do? So there are different vehicles that you need to use so that it preserves it. The one thing you really want to look at, people are like, I don't know about that, guaranteed income for life. I mean, you get a paycheck when you go to work right now. Why can't you have a paycheck when you're in retirement?
I love that.
You can have a paycheck.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And is that something that you can set up once already in retirement?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. I love that. I love that everything you're discussing, there's a way to make it happen no matter what the age is, it sounds like. Okay. So if you were to give one tip, I know you are extremely knowledgeable in all of this, but if you were to give one tip to our retirees of the most important thing that they could learn if they would come to Retirement's Next Steps workshop, which you're missing, you missed, you're not here, but we're giving you a little secret. What's the number one thing you would want to tell them?
The number one thing, there's so many things.
Okay, you can give two.
Gifting.
Oh.
I know that sounds strange, but with the new tax laws, if you're going to be in that situation that's going to create a very large, or if you have a large income and you want to save your money, protect it by getting rid of some of your taxes, which would be by lowering your income or your influx. Gifting, gift to your children, gift to a charity. Those are two totally separate ideas, and they work both differently.
Okay.
But that is one really good way to do that if you're looking at lowering your tax bracket. Let's see what else. Just ask questions. Nothing that pick up the phone, call someone that you trust, and ask questions. There are no stupid questions, and I remember being on the other side of the table going, "Oh, I'm going to sound like I don't know anything." It doesn't matter. That's not your job.
Right.
Your job is to talk to this person and get your questions answered.
And you don't know what somebody does or does not know about the tools and everything, so it's important for them to ask as many questions as possible so that you also get an idea of where they're at, so that you can help with the education process of it all.
Exactly. I always try to find out, why are we meeting? And then for our first meeting, I tried to put together an educational PowerPoint that will be for their situation.
Okay. Now, you had touched on, I kind of sidetracked you, so I apologize that, but you had kind of touched on the fact that you do work with women in very unique situations, such as divorce and widows. Is there anything that you want to tell maybe an individual who's going through this that is something that they need to know? I mean, widow in many cases happens very suddenly, right?
Right.
So is there something that they should maybe be thinking of in the back of their heads, or?
So most widows or divorcees, I'm finding they don't like their financial planner that they have.
That their husband picked.
Right, that their husband picked, and it's because the husband and the expert were just talking to each other, and they got left out. And I'm finding that still in 2026, there's a lot of women that don't understand the finances. They don't understand what a whole bunch of different things mean, and that's why I want you to find somebody that will sit down and explain that to you. If you need help figuring out how to pay your bills, ask. And that's why I'm like, nobody knows what anybody's been through. So until somebody's walked in your shoes, they have no right to do any kind of judgment on you. And that is huge with me. And I actually have, if you're contemplating about going through divorce, I have a divorce prep guide.
Oh, interesting.
And it's things that you just don't think about.
Sure.
And then the retirees, there's so many more silver/gray divorces right now, and that starts
I've
if
heard
you're
that. That's
only,
so crazy.
if you're
Yeah.
only 50 or if you're 80. And first of all, I'm like 80 years old and you're getting a divorce. But it's true. It's true.
Hey, if you don't like the person you're with, it doesn't matter what age.
Exactly. So, that's why you want to talk with somebody and talk to somebody before you're getting that divorce. I have a whole, as you know, I'm really in like the whole community aspect.
Yes.
And so I like to find out what do you want to do? How do you want to do it? And I always put together a team of a good lawyer or mediator and myself to make sure that everything goes smoothly. Same with a widow.
Yeah.
It's really interesting how those two align with each other.
I could see that.
So, and it's just taking the time to listen. And if your financial person is not listening to you, you need to find a new one.
Yes. And I think the biggest thing that stuck out is ladies, get educated. Don't let your husband take care of all of it. You can learn this stuff just as much as they can and be a part of the conversations.
As my husband says, that he's totally screwed if I die. He has no idea what's going on. So you don't want that happening to you.
I like that. Okay. So do you work throughout the entire valley or are you just a specific area? Tell us a little about that.
I work through the entire valley. We a lot of people like doing virtual. I like meeting in person because that way I can really get to know you.
Yeah.
But we can do both, and yes, I work in the entire valley.
Okay. And then how would somebody get in touch with you? What's the best way?
So my email is Betty at amfuturesllc.com. And I'll give you I can't believe I'm doing this, but I'll give you my cell phone. It's 602-524-9230. And if you just want to contact me, say, hey, you heard me talking with Jill and want to just chit-chat for about 15 minutes, I'm more than happy to do so.
Excellent. And then there is one more group that I'd like to talk a little bit about you being a part of. It's called Caring for Our Parents, and it's part of Check Moon Valley First, which is a group that focuses in the Moon Valley neighborhood of Phoenix. Tell us a little bit about that group.
They are fabulous. So they only started about 7 months ago, which is crazy to me. There's a Facebook group, and then we're also putting together different events where you can come in and have a panel of different experts that help you answer those questions when you're working with your elderly parents or your elderly husband or wife. Because it's a new world, and we don't want you to feel that you're alone. So in our group, we have people that can help you transition from a home to a group home or a assisted living
Senior
facility,
living. Yeah.
or fix your home up so you can stay at home. I'm in there so that we can figure out the finances for you to do whichever you want to do. There's other people in there that help you with Medicare. It's a great group. So follow them on Facebook, Caring for Your Parents, and hopefully you can come to one of our events.
That sounds wonderful. I'm glad you guys are a part of that. It's really important. People don't know what the resources are out there for them, hence why we are doing Retirement's Next Steps, and so I'm glad to hear that there's other groups doing that as well. Well, Betty, I want to thank you for being here today. Is there anything else you would like to share with our listeners?
It's never too late to start.
I like that.
And and you worked hard for your money, so you want to keep your money. So that's the best thing to do is just get started.
Absolutely. Any time is a good time, so get on it. Well, thank you again. We appreciate you being here.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Retirement's Next Steps podcast. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach me at 303-204-4432 or via email jill@dgeorgepartners.com. If you would like to attend one of our Retirement's Next Steps workshops, you can find the schedule on our website, Templeton-Haislip.com. Make sure to subscribe to Realtor Jill Templeton-Haislip on YouTube and follow the Retirement's Next Steps channel. You can also follow us on Facebook and LinkedIn. Wishing you a happy and fulfilling retirement. We look forward to connecting with you soon.